Hello, everyone, and welcome to Into It with Corinthus Alston. Well, today on the show, we're going to talk about the numbers. Yes, it's all about the numbers. And I have a special guest with me, Audrey Heesch, to help me talk about these numbers. Now, here's the great thing. Audrey has a bookkeeping business. She's been doing this for 4 years. She's been helping small business owners figure out what the numbers. So I need everyone to put their hands together.
What a beautiful welcome. Thank you so much. That was wonderful.
No problem. So everyone, I asked Audrey here to let's talk about this whole thing about having a small business and the numbers. I get the twist all about the numbers, accounting. I know. Okay, right. I was just having fun. So
Love it.
But no, I asked her to come on the show because a lot of small business owners and even some of the ones that I coach and mentor as well, they look at running the business, but they don't think anything about the numbers at all. And 6 months in, it all come crashing down when they're trying to figure out, how do I get a business credit card? How do I figure out, how do I pay for things? They're taking in money and putting it into their personal expenses, and they're trying to figure out how to spend it. So I said, you know what? I need a show. We're going to talk about it.
Let's spill the tea.
Let's spill the tea. And I know what are some of the things that people need to know about these numbers when they're starting a small business?
Yes, that's an amazing question. And I would start by saying, know them. A lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs, like you said, they shy away from the financial side, and that is a key pillar of your business. In every single business that you have, your finances are your key pillar. You cannot do anything. What brings in, what goes out is knowing your numbers. And without certain metrics and without putting in systems and processes in place to know what those numbers are for you and make them work for you, you're kind of flying blind. You might have been lucky. There's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that were like, I scaled to like 6 figures before I even started looking at my numbers. And that's just luck. And they admit it towards the end because they're like, I was flying by the seat of my pants, and then I learned how much better my business can be and how much more I can do with my business when I start investing the time, energy, knowledge into figuring out what these mean and how I can make them work for me.
Wow. Here I am. I'm a small business owner. I've been in business for a year. I run into you. I'm like, help. I need some help. What are like some of the basic accounts you should set up?
There's a couple different ways we could take this. So there is definitely, absolutely, you should set up your own business bank account. You need to always separate your business from your personal. Granted, there are times we've all been there. We're like, okay, this is the card I have. Great, I'm going to swipe it. And so there's those situations where you're going to use your business card for personal expenses. It's not the end of the world. But as a general rule, you do want to keep them separate. This just keeps clean, clear books. Just having that separation because you are an individual and your business is an entity.
So do I need one account, 2, 3? I mean, sometimes it gets confusing. Most people say, hey, you need a operating account and a tax account, or you need this account or that account.
That is brilliant. There's lots of people in the accounting world. That is how you're supposed to technically, like that. If you want to work at the most optimum level, yes, have those different accounts for the different sections and what you need to do. Like, here's your operating account. Like you said, here's your taxes. Here is your payroll tax. Here's your sales tax. Yes, that is definitely something that you should be an end goal. But if you are starting out and you are struggling and trying to figure out what that next step is, I don't recommend going to that high standard if you don't understand how to get there. It's about meeting you where you're at and then getting to that place.
Let's talk about this whole thing about understanding the financial statement. Because most people don't think why it's important to understand that the gross versus net versus profit. Those things. So in your business, you're doing bookkeeping. Do I just dump it all on you? I'm like, hey, I got this receipt. I just did this, and I got this receipt, and I did that. How far do you take it, or do they do some of the work?
That is a beautiful question, and something that I definitely say is different for every single person.
Okay.
There are people that I say this all the time about my one client. She is a beautiful human. She's amazing, but numbers, not her thing. It's a foreign language. She hates it. She hates it. She wants nothing to do with it. So that's why she hired me, and I take over all of it. And if she has questions, she's like, hey, I want to do this one thing. What are my numbers telling me? She reaches out to me and she has me create spreadsheets or information around what it looks like for her. So it's all about figuring out what your level is and where you're at and the level of control you need to have versus you need to oversee it. That is non-negotiable in a business. It is the bread and butter, like literally the bread and butter, what's going in, what's going out, what's going on with your finances. It's your responsibility to look at it and to understand what it's saying. But it's not necessarily, if you hate it, don't get in there. Don't force yourself to do something you're not good at or doesn't bring you joy. That's when you hire nerds like me who go in and do all the things.
Okay.
So I love it. I love it. But I know people, I get so excited when someone gives me a receipt. I'm like, oh, okay, here's a receipt. What can I do with it? Not all people are like that. And so it's about creating systems and structure within your business to work with how you operate.
Do you sort of kind of help and coach them along the way of why they need to understand their numbers and how does it relate to their business?
Yes, and I love this. That is a phenomenal question. It is very important that you have somebody that if you don't want to have any dealings with your finances besides oversight, you need to have clear communication with who you're working with to be able to ask those questions. And it's very important that they're patient with you. That is one thing I do see in my industry, that there is not a lot of patience. It's a very black and white industry. My industry is very black and white. Like, you need to know this and you need to have this. And I think that there is a bridge that needs to be gapped to be like, hey, this is where you're at, and I'm going to sit here and explain it until you understand. And that's the empowering part of business ownership, is to take that and to be like, okay, I need to find people who are my team, who's going to support me. How can they support me in a way that works for me so I can do all the cool fun things and not deal with the numbers?
So here's the thing that I always find interesting. When you got someone getting ready to start a business, and I'm like, you need a bookkeeper. They said I can't afford it. And my pushback, and I just want to know your thought, is that you have to be able to afford them. It's not an option. And the reason I say that is because the financial piece is so much of the business that I think sometimes people get caught up in the selling or the product or the service, not understanding that if the finances are not right, it doesn't matter how good you are. By saying that, do you find that having someone looking at those numbers is just as important as you selling a product or service?
Absolutely, because like we keep talking about, your finances are your foundation. You cannot do anything. And until you start knowing that, like, okay, I say there's two essential metrics that every business needs to know besides the income and expenses is what is your break-even point? Because without knowing exactly what you have coming in and out, you can't know, or what is going out, you don't know how much you need to bring in. And the other thing is understanding your costs and what that looks like for what your goal is. You need to be able to figure that out for yourself, and you cannot necessarily rely on your bookkeeper to know what that is unless you've expressly said, these are the metrics I want every week, every month. It is still your responsibility to oversee it. And I think that is the biggest thing that I see is people hire a bookkeeper and they're like, okay, I finally got to that place where I had enough money to hire a bookkeeper, so now I completely don't handle it. And that's not the case. Like, it's still your responsibility to oversee it.
So they're small business, they're making $4,000 or $5,000 a month. Then next thing you know, business is great. They're making $15,000, $20,000. Instead of talking to you more, you're saying they talk to you less?
The ones that set up from the beginning with me, we have bi-weekly calls, or we have all of this. Like, if we've set up systems in the beginning that I maintain to be like, okay, I call you every Tuesday. So they maintain that part. But yes, it is important to get a bookkeeper if it's not your thing. And it is a necessity cost, because think about all the cost it takes for your time. How much do you charge an hour, and how many hours do you unnecessarily put into your finances? Because just end of year, just taxes, you have to. You have to.
Jesus, that's crazy.
How much time are you spending on that and what you charge
Hours.
Versus paying somebody to just have it done for you, to have it continually work with you week after week, month after month, instead of at end of year to see what you did last year. How is that going to help you now?
See, guys, this is why I wanted to have her on the show, because again, people don't understand how important this is. To me, I think this is like one of the most critical things that you need to understand. And you hit like two of my pet peeves. Understanding your cost of goods. I know, guys, I'm being a little technical. I'm using accounting terminology here.
I love it.
Okay, but and I tell them when I coach people, I said, you need to understand the terminology and the lingo. The biggest thing is that you hit around the head. How much did it cost for me to deliver that service? And then you want to get sophisticated. I call it the customer acquisition cost. That's when you really start to get a little sophisticated. How much did it cost me to acquire the customer and then service the customer? I know, guys, I understand a little lingo here, but the reason why I'm saying this is because you need to understand these terminologies and what they mean, because they affect your business, especially when you're selling high-end products. So if you're selling high-end products, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, if that's your offering, you need to know how much does it cost you just to acquire a customer. So I want you to talk about your mastermind. I thought first of all, I watched them all. I'm like, ooh, I want to get, I didn't hear him. Oh, him. Okay, so I want you to talk about your mastermind. Now, she created this mastermind, and actually that's how we wind up doing this right here. She created this mastermind called Gain Control of Your Business Finances. So I'm going to let you have the floor.
Yes, it was amazing. It was a journey, and it was a journey for me, and it was a beautiful one. And from all the feedback I've gotten, it's been a journey for everyone who watched it and took part of it. Like it is one of the most proud things I've ever created in my life. It is 28 speakers. I interviewed wonderful people like Corinthus. It genuinely, yours was one of my absolute favorite interviews. I felt like we connected. Yes, we did. And we had such an amazing, beautiful conversation around just finances and knowing your numbers and what that looks like and how to support entrepreneurs. And that was my whole goal with this. Is there's so much shame. There's so much shame, so much doubt and confusion around our finances because we aren't taught it. There's this weird standard of what our finances need to be, which, okay, I don't want to say weird. There's a reason there's a standard. There's taxes and there's income and it's important to have this standard, but we don't teach people how to get there. And so entrepreneurs particularly, I see them have this standard of what they need to be doing. And so they come to me and they're like, I'm so sorry of how everything is. They come ashamed. They come saying, oh my gosh, this is awful. I know I'm shit. I know it's terrible. And I'm trying to release that for people And that was the whole point of the series, is to be like, as entrepreneurs, we're all kind of paddling up water upstream, and we're in this together. And the more we talk about it, the more educated we can be, which is where knowledge is power. And B, just see that we're all in the same boat at some point. And so it's just a beautiful series of entrepreneurs coming together and talking, spilling the tea, talking about all their shame and what's been right, what's been wrong. And so www.getoffthemoneyshametrain.com.
Thank you. I was about to say, where you... Okay. You got to do that again. I need you by yourself. Okay, say it again.
If you go to www.getoffthemoneyshametrain.com, and currently it's $97, and you get unlimited access to 28 incredible interviews. Like, you're here watching Corinthus, come see him some more. Like, it is an incredible interview.
Thank you. See, guys, and I want you to do that because I'm going to highlight that. I just want everybody to know. I want to highlight it because you need to go to do this. Oh, you know what? We didn't say the name of your business. We did all this. Okay. Give me the name of your business and how can people. So you do represent people from all over the United States, CONUS and CONUS.
Honestly, I'm stepping away from my bookkeeping business and going towards more into the coaching world, because there is this need to understand the finances.
You see my face, right?
Yes, drop. Oh my God. But I'm taking all of my years and my experience and everything into putting it into entrepreneurs. So we got the graceful, it just in a different form. I put everything into the bookkeeping side. I've learned and been in it, and now I'm here to teach it and show everyone how empowering it can be. And I think there's so much excitement in that. I'm so excited for it. So I'm going to put together a course where we go over what are the basics of accounting? What is the financials saying? What is QuickBooks? All the nerdy things. But yes, the graceful penny. With my rambling there.
All right. Again, guys, I got to give you my tagline. Success doesn't happen overnight. It happens what? Day by day.
I love that.